Hello everybody, welcome, and thank you for watching It Takes Courage with me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil, and we have a very special guest here, Lindsey, who is a passionate runner, and not only that, like her running gave her the confidence, the self-esteem, the discipline to pursue the things that matters in her life. So Lindsey, welcome.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm so happy to be here.
It's my pleasure. So Lindsey, when did you start running, or when did this passion come up? Were you running since you were 2 years old, like everywhere? Or like was it like something that kind of like gently was being nudged in your direction?
Right, well, I played soccer my entire life, and soccer involves a lot of running. So in high school, I actually joined the cross country and track team, and that's kind of where I fell into the love of the hard work ethic and the high mileage, and just learning a lot of all of this hard work and what you put into it pays off.
And also this running has this like, you're not really competing with other people per se, right? You're kind of like with you, like what is your personal best, and then trying to, trying to break it, and how far can you stretch yourself? So like you start off with running, was it short distance, and then you moved to the cross country?
Yes, cross country, the races are about 3 miles, so we kind of start off slow that way and build up that foundation. So we're able to handle longer runs, longer races for track. So that's kind of where that grew, and it also helped a lot with something that was uncomfortable, because running is very uncomfortable, and most people, it's a lot of self-discipline, so it's a great challenge, and taking those risks is really what helps you grow.
And I mean, running is not that sexy, is it? Like it's not like really that kind of like thing. Oh, I want to go running, right?
If you see people's faces when they're running, they're usually not always smiling, so it's kind of a, ow, this hurts.
And talk about this self-discipline thing that you mentioned about running. How does self-discipline, or kind of like telling yourself that you can do this, helps you with your running or achieving your milestone, or when you go for races? How does this self-discipline help you to, take it to when you're running?
Right, so a lot of the self-discipline, it comes from focusing on all your muscles, not just putting on your running shoes and going out the door. You are using your full body, so you have to focus on your knees, your IT band, so you have to take extra time to stretch, do core strength training. All of those little things really attribute to your overall body, which helps you in every race. You can't just focus on one aspect of your body, it has to be all over. So if you do skip, stretching after a run or not warming up long enough, that is how you get injured. So you really have to be self-disciplined so you're prepared for the next obstacle to come.
And then talking about this whole mechanism, right? Do you feel like your mindset plays, a contribution to like the confidence, or yourself? Because like in school, I used to track, I'm always a short distance. I do 100 meters. I'm gonna be like, freak, and then I would sprint the whole day, and then I'm done. And then if I were to do 200 meters, 500 meters, I would be flat out. So where does this mindset comes to like, okay, I can do this, I can stretch another 100 meters, I can do another 100 meters, I can do another 100 meters, and soon you're going 1 mile and 2 miles and 3 miles.
Well, it really comes down to taking even that small risk, because even when you take that small risk, you just barely even scratch the surface of your capabilities. So when you say, oh, I can just push myself a little more, let's see how I feel after that. And then eventually this all will start to build up, and it helps, you know, bring that strength, the physical strength, the inner strength. So once you know that, hey, if I did this, I can try to push a little more and try to get to this point. And a lot of it is also just the self-improvement on the inside. So you do have to be willing to work with yourself, because if you don't really believe in yourself or even take those little risks, little chances here and there, then you won't really see any of the results that you'd like.
And what really surprises you about running? Because, you know, it's not one of the glamorous things that you do compared to other high-profile sports. So what really kind of surprises you about running, that you've seen it having this impact in yourself and the people around you?
Right. Well, a lot of it is very self-therapeutic. When you run, you release those endorphins throughout your body, and those are natural things that help you feel better. So sometimes you might be kind of in a bummer mood, like, I don't want to go on this run right now, but once you get your shoes, are able to go out the door afterwards, you feel totally different. You feel so much better. So just believing in yourself a little bit here and there with that really makes a difference.
Awesome. And how, I know you also coach, right? And so you coach at coach the other young runners. So how did you take like your running experience from high school to, you know, to college and then so on with the races? How do you take those experiences to coach this younger generation? And then I think one of the things that you mentioned, that the coolest part is running beside them, right? So how did you take your experience to kind of like, hey, this is, you know, kind of like the, not the guy, but kind of like inspire them to believe in themselves?
I kind of put myself back where they were when they were at that age, because when I was 13, 14, even beginning to run then, I did not know anything. And it generally just takes time. And again, the team environment that you surround yourself with is really what makes it so much more of a positive experience. So just going here and there, then also the qualities that I've grown with throughout running as an experienced runner, taking those little steps here and there and helping guide younger runners. So, hey, you know, this happened to me because I didn't stretch long enough, or I should have tried to raise my knees a little bit higher on that uphill so my hips weren't hurting so much. So it's just taking a lot of even my mistakes and turning those into positives so I could help guide them along the way.
Brilliant. So what would you say to, your biggest advice to people who wants to start running and building confidence? Because it's not one of those things like, okay, I'll run today, oh, I'm not going to do it, and then, you know, it's never going to happen. So what is your biggest advice for people who wants to start, and also for those who are already running but they want to maintain that running, you know, that running training that they have?
Well, it's really taking kind of that first uncomfortable step where, again, you are not going to feel good the first day, the second day, the third day. It takes time. It takes weeks to start to get your body to adjust to this new aerobic capacity. So, and just like with marathon training, you have to do months and months of work just to prepare, since a marathon is 26 miles. It's very long. So if you're just starting to run, you really have to do, you know, 30 seconds jogging, 30 seconds walking. You have to try to take that time to adjust so your body doesn't reject it so much and says, okay, now we're building up this muscle here, this muscle here, so now we can all kind of flow together.
Well, that's interesting. So take it, you know, a step at a time, right? And then kind of like run 30 seconds and then, you know, walk a little bit, or jog 30 seconds and then kind of walk a little bit, and kind of like pacing yourself. Because, you know, even for me, I'm like, I'm just gonna run, and then I go run and then I just crash, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of building those layers up, and then the first thing and then the next.
Yes, because if you just go out there and run 4 or 5 miles, you will pay for it later, for sure.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Lindsey, for joining me today with It Takes Courage. Certainly, like what you have is having the courage to express yourself and inspiring. Who would have thought, like, your running, your passion for running would have had you inspiring this younger generation, and kind of like in a way, like they're not on their own. They don't
Right.
feel alone.
And we can see where you're coming from. We've been in the same shoes, the same running shoes. So
Right. I mean, like you and the teenagers are closer in age, and if you were like a 60-year-old guy talking to like, they'd be
Much
like,
younger.
dude, you don't even know what we're
yeah,
talking
you've got
about.
a lot of training, a long road ahead. Yes. So.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us today,
you so
Lindsay.
much.
It's
I
my
appreciate it.
pleasure. And that is It Takes Courage. Thank you for joining me. Until the next episode, this is your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil.